So teacher retention in education it's a topic, right? I have a little bit of knowledge. My master's thesis was actually on teacher retention and why we have so much turnover in ag education, particularly in Colorado. I sent a survey out. Majority of the ag teachers in Colorado took it. And once we looked through the data, what we really found is it didn't come down to admin. It didn't come down to pay. It didn't even come down to facilities of what teachers were teaching. What it came to was the individual person and if they were able to teach and find their passion. And education is such a great career, if you can find your passion and keep it. One of the things that I've really had to focus on over the past couple of years, and this year in particular, is focusing on what drives me and focusing on it. So for example, what gets me out of bed in the morning as a teacher are student aha moments. And whether that's as a human or in the curriculum, that's what makes me happy as a teacher. So if I have a student who can label the parts of the flower, tell me how chlorophyll works, those moments where they're learning and realizing they're learning, that's what's exciting for me. What's really even more exciting for me is students who get skills. So a freshman realizing, hey, deadlines are important. Students in my greenhouse management class realizing that, hey, if I buy really expensive starter plants, then I have to up my prices at the plant sale. And making those connections is what drives me. And that's what I focus on. I don't focus on the parent emails that aren't great. I don't focus on that student who doesn't want to be here. I'm not saying I neglect them and I don't teach them, but they're not what lives in my brain when I'm trying to decide if I'm going to sign a contract the next year. I focus on my passion, and my passion is educating. So that's what I really tell my sisters. That's what I tell any young teacher coming in, is you find your passion and you do it. The other piece of information I tell them is you have to set boundaries. And it's such a laughable thought because none of us do it. None of us do it well. And the thing with boundaries is they constantly change. Before I had kids, I would take grading home. Now that I have kids, I don't. So what works for me is I set a timer, or I tell myself I can grade this stack of papers. I'll stay, I'll do that, and then I leave. And you make yourself leave. My teaching partner takes grading home. That's what works for her. So don't think you have to be like every other teacher in the building. Find what pushes you, your passion, and do focus on that. I'm not saying neglect the other things, but focus on that. And then make sure you set those boundaries. Nope, I'm not taking grading home. Or I am going to take grading home and I'm only going to do it on Thursdays. Setting boundaries so that you can be happy is what makes teachers retainable.